The choice you're about to make will impact the journey in so many ways. That decision I'm referring to is your starter Pokemon, the first partner by your side helping you achieve greatness as a trainer, top coordinator, or performer. So I invite you to join me as we travel through each region to see which generation had the best starter Pokemon. We start in the Kanto region, home to the OG trio, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charmander. The nostalgia is through the roof, but let's not overdo it. These three resemble the closest to real-world animals, which subconsciously allows you to connect with them a lot easier. Even though each one adds significant value, the one you choose drastically alters your entire playthrough. The fire type being the most offensive, the grass type being the status dealing specialist, and the water type being the most defensive. As much as these three are the foundation of things to come, we are 9 generations in, and there are just better selections when it comes to starter Pokemon. These three will forever be in the Hall of Fame of starter Pokemon, but the Kanto region is more of an appetizer than the main course. The Johto region. Design-wise, we see upgrades across the board. The bipedal Pokemon reign supreme, especially farther down the evolutionary line, committing to one typing throughout, leaving a lot off the table when it comes to move pool and coverage. But being all in allows each Pokemon to thrive in their own respective environments. Meganium, the graceful Sauropod, represents the grass type, which comes in quite underwhelming. Typhlosion, the power of an active volcano on its back. The design not only striking, but with a name to match. Feraligatr borrows a lot from its opposing rival, lacking greatly in the originality department. Gen 2, Fire region, mid-starters. The Hoenn region, Trico, Mudkip, and Torchic, in addition to each having their own unique design. The introduction of these three going beyond Professor Birch's lab into the tall grass, where one choice from one briefcase can determine so much on the journey ahead. Their middle evolutions being a perfect precursor to their final form. Sceptile, the pure grass type with 2 deadly blades on each side protruding from its arms, stands tall. Next to Swampert, the bulky water ground type, amphibian to the core. Even though one leaf storm and it's a wrap, the mudfish Pokemon is no slouch. Last up is Blaziken, the fire and fighting type, would set the standard going forward. Not a huge fan, but the original does it best, and it would be a crime if I didn't mention Mega Evolution. But to keep things fair, that will not play a part in the rankings. In summary, the Hoenn region does an excellent job of giving the player a distinctive experience, given the choice of starter, creating so many memories along the way. The Sinnoh region, Turtwig, Piplup, and Chimchar. In terms of cuteness, it's undeniable these three have that in spades. Going further down the evolutionary line, usually there's an awkwardness before the final form, but Gen 4 handles it gracefully, with each Pokemon showing maturity and experience. Torterra, the ground grass type tortoise, with an oak tree and a stone coming from its shell. Quite possibly the most unique design of any Pokemon in the Pokedex. Empoleon, the Emperor Pokemon, water and steel, a severely underused type combination, only being weak to 3 types, giving it a strong defensive build, a far cry from its unevolved form. Infernape, the apex of fighting and fire types, with offense being the main staple, allowing you to steamroll through an entire team with very little setup, visually coming off as a gladiator, and rightly so. The Sinnoh trio by far handled each evolution brilliantly, showing a gradual progression with an amazing payoff. This is the blueprint, but Gen 5 decided to go in a different direction. The Unova region. Polarizing is an understatement. With the reboot brought many changes. Starter Pokemon have always unanimously been accepted with open arms by all, but it's safe to say the community either loved or completely disowned these three: Snivy, Tepig, and Oshawott. The grass and fire type coming off more as generic mobile game characters, a true disappointment even in their final forms. But Oshawott is the real standout, especially when you arrive at Samurott. Ultimately, the Gen 5 Sea Lion just deserved better. The Kalos region. Chespin, Froakie, and Fennekin. We haven't seen all three starters design-wise hit this hard since Gen 3, which is a good return to form. Then there's the middle evolutions. It's best if we pretend it didn't happen. Brexen is the only less awkward out of the three, while Quilladin looks more like a Pokeball than a Pokemon. That brings us to the final forms. Chestnut and Delphox look more like fourth evolutions. Very busy with no cohesion, a prime example of overcomplicating, leading to poor design. Greninja, on the other hand, is a marker of perfection. The water and dark type single-handedly carried this generation when it comes to starters. Greninja surpasses every expectation of what a water type could be. The Alola region. The one thing that Gen 7 gets right is the type selection. Rowlet starting off as Flying Grass, then graduating to Grass Ghost is so refreshing. Incineroar, Fire Dark, and Primarina, Water Fairy, respectively. Great transitions. The designs though, more specifically the middle evolutions, seem more like concept pieces because I refuse to believe TCPI greenlit these. Never has a group of Pokemon made you feel physically uncomfortable to look at. So as we depart to Gen 8, we say Alola. The Galar region. Sobble, Grookey, and Scorbunny. What makes these three stand out is the real-world references, slowly maturing from their adorable unevolved forms to their dominant final evolutions. Rillaboom being the lead drummer, Cinderace being the premier footballer, and Inteleon doing its best 007 impression. Human-like Pokemon usually are hit or miss, but Galar handles it well, especially the G-Max forms, making this already exciting trio larger than life. The Paldea region. Quaxly, Fuecoco, and Sprigatito. Gen 9 grants us the opportunity to travel amongst some of the most inviting Pokemon since the Kanto region. These three are oozing personality. The grass type, proving the feline concept can't miss. The fire type, being the most rambunctious out of the three, but in a good way. The water type, calm, cool, and collective, and with great hair. Their middle stages, building on already established greatness. Then we've got the final evolutions. Skeledirge, with flames forever blazing from its mouth. The Fire Ghost Croc is a new addition to the Pokedex, and a great addition indeed. Quaquaval does not roll off the tongue. The dancing water and fighting type is a big departure from Quaxly, and if I'm being honest, goes a bit overboard, overcomplicating a Pokemon that didn't need much in the first place. But the crowd favorite, Meowscarada, the great magician, perfectly typed as grass and dark, having the most natural evolution. These three Pokemon embody the region to a T, more so than any other previous generation. But which starter trio stands above them all. The Hoenn region. From the moment you make that crucial decision in Little Root Town, there's a sense of ease. No matter what Pokemon you chose, you knew the journey ahead would lead to this moment, this stage, the Hall of Fame, the crowning achievement to every Pokemon trainer, and aided along the road, a member of your team that could never be replaced. And that's your starter Pokemon.